Good afternoon. Welcome to Sports Nothing But Sports with Kent Sterling, brought to you by the great people at Today's Dentistry. Give them a call, 317-849-2933. I know from where I speak, I've been a patient there the last 26 years. This is the best dental office ever, top to bottom. Top, Dr. Mike O'Neill, best dentist I've ever seen. The staff, unbelievably empathetic and unbelievably friendly. You're going to have a great time there. You're going to look forward to your next dental visit if you're a patient at Today's Dentistry. 317-849-2933. Let's talk about sports and let's talk about Tiger Woods for just another minute, okay? You know what? Tiger yesterday, it was thrilling. The 8-iron on 16 was wonderful, almost went in the jar. You know what? The grinded out bogey on 18, which is all he needed to do to win after Koepka missed that birdie putt. Unbelievable, stunning, wonderful. Fifth green jacket, second all-time behind Jack, one ahead now of Arnold. Great for him. But you know what? I'm kind of done with it. People want to memorialize his work yesterday at Augusta National when I think for all time, and I know that this happened 33 years ago, so it's been a long time. But what Jack did in 86, this does not compare. Jack shot 30 on the back nine at Augusta after having a career that was moribund for roughly 6 years. All right, this is a guy, I know he had back surgery, endless back surgeries, comes to Augusta, he's got a chance to win. Molinari falls apart on the back nine at Augusta. Tiger keeps grinding. This, you know what, Jack's victory was stunning, and it was spectacular. This was just a grinded out showcase of competent golf by Tiger Woods. Good for Tiger Woods. Is he ever going to get to Nicklaus? Hell no, he's never going to get to Nicklaus. He's never going to get to 18. But I got to tell you the truth, I never thought he was going to win another Masters. So there you go. You know who did think it? The great Eddie White. Eddie White, every time I'd see him, he'd say, you know, Tiger's going to win another Masters. And I'd say, Eddie, you're out of your mind. This guy has had back surgery after back surgery. Golf is difficult on the back. I don't think he's going to be able to practice to the level he needs to in order to win another Masters. I think you're out of your mind. Then I give him a big hug because Eddie hates hugs. We'd talk it out, and now Eddie has been proven correct, but I'm telling you, there's no way that Tiger ever gets to 18. Now he's a favorite to win at Bethpage Black in next month's PGA. That ain't happening either. So, you know what? Take all your money, and if you can bet like the come line, like in craps, on Tiger to lose, you go ahead and do that because Tiger, he ain't going to win at the Page, and I don't think that he's going to win at the Open Championship or the U.S. Open. I don't think any of those are going to come to pass. I think that Tiger, what he ought to do if he's prudent is just say, adios, good night, I had a great time, go out on top. You know what I mean? Spend the rest of your life with your kids, being a great dad, which by all accounts he has become. You've got to really applaud and congratulate the guy for some personal growth. He has had issue after issue after issue, and it seems as though he's kind of come out on top, understanding what's important in life. Good for him. Golf is a really good teacher that arrogance just does not work. Will Wade's back on the job at LSU. He is the college basketball coach again at LSU. He was suspended about a month and a half ago because he refused to talk to his employers or the NCAA about a transcript of a wiretap which had him on the phone with shoe pimp Christian Dawkins, where Wade said this. The problem was, I know why he didn't take it now. It was expletive, tilted toward the family a little bit. It was tilted toward taking care of the mom, taking care of the kid, like it was tilted towards that. Now I know for a fact he didn't explain everything to the mom. I know now he didn't get enough of the piece of the pie in the deal. Dawkins responded saying, And Wade concluded saying it was an expletive, hell of a expletive offer. Hell of an offer. So he's talking about this handler for the smart kid who wound up committing to LSU. Now, am I nuts? Did I miss something? Or does that not sound 100% like a coach that knew that this guy was getting cash and the kid was going to get a piece of the pie and the mom was going to get a piece of the pie? Does it not sound like Will Wade was engineering a payment for a kid and his family to commit and play basketball at LSU. Did it not sound like that? Of course it sounded like that, because that's what it was. And then when this comes out and the people at LSU say, Will, we got to sit down and talk, he said, no. I'm not talking to anybody. Forget about it. You guys get bent. I'm not talking. I did nothing wrong. We are not talking. So LSU responded by suspending Will Wade. And now, after he spoke to people at LSU and the NCAA this past Friday, he's reinstated. He denied everything. So what is the lesson? You know, LSU is supposed to be an educational facility, right? It is a place where young minds are supposed to be molded into reasonable adults. What did they learn during this process? They learned this, that if you win, and Will Wade has won, and if you deny, that you are going to get paid. LSU won 28 games this year. The last time they won more than 21 games, or more than 28 games, the last time that they won the SEC, the last time they had a winning percentage better than this year's 18-2 in the SEC was back in 1981. For those of you not so great at math, that's 38 years ago. He has done this in 2 years. 2 years ago, in 2017, Will Wade, not the coach yet, at LSU. LSU went 2-16 in the SEC, and they won only 10 games. So that guy gets fired. They bring in Will Wade, and in his second year, they win 28 games. They go 18-2 in the SEC, and off they go to the NCAA tournament. So Will Wade, in 2 years, has been able to put together a winning, not tradition, but a winning season, the likes of which they have not seen in Baton Rouge in 38 years. What does that tell you about Will Wade? I don't want to get completely cynical. I don't want to say the only way to complete a quick turnaround at a university is to cheat. But hell's bells, doesn't it look like that to you? And I'm not so stupid that I would say definitively Will Wade is a cheat. But you start connecting dots, and what you got is C, an H, an E, an A, and a T. If you connect the dots and you're a reasonable human being, that's what this looks like. And LSU turning a blind eye to it. The NCAA, they've kind of stepped aside as these trials continue and as the federal government continues to try guys like Christian Dawkins and Merle Code and these shoe pimps. And then once all that's concluded, the NCAA says they're going to get busy about the process of discipline. What's got to happen in college basketball and in college athletics, period, is the athletic departments, the university president, what they've got to do is exercise some integrity, for the love of God. Right? They've got to look and say, this is not what we stand for, so we are not going to stand idly by as that's being executed. That's what's got to happen. The schools have to do, people complained about Kelvin Sampson and Indiana University back in 2008, right? But you know what Indiana University did? Indiana University uncovered the impermissible texts and three-way phone calls and reported those to the NCAA in the midst of a season that could have ended very, very happily in Bloomington. They had a lot of talent. Now, Kelvin Sampson acquired that talent through, these impermissible texts and phone calls, things that wouldn't even be against the rules today. But Indiana ratted itself out. All right, Indiana stood up and said, that's not who we are. This is not what we do. And Kelvin Sampson has got to get the hell out of here. And the NCAA followed that up with a 5-year show cause ban. So Kelvin Sampson could not work in college basketball for the following 5 years. What are they doing at LSU? They're saying, you know what? This guy, by all accounts, looks like somebody who is actually paying players to come to LSU, but they're doing nothing about it. The school's doing nothing about it. The NCAA, at least to this point, has done nothing about it. Where is the integrity? Where is the lesson? Where is the education? I guess none of that matters as long as you're winning basketball games. More college basketball news. Interesting news out of Marquette today. Transfers. Sam and Joey Hauser are going to transfer out of Marquette. Now, Joey Hauser, he was a freshman this past year, 6'8", 2 1/4. He averaged 10 and 5. But Sam Hauser just completed his junior year. I would have to assume that he's going to be a grad-eligible guy. And at 6'8", 230, he averaged 15 and 7. That is an interesting guy to go see leave Marquette. Now, both those guys going, that makes the Big East a little bit easier as long as they move outside the conference, right? So that's good news for Butler. But as you look at teams that still have multiple scholarships available, you look at Indiana University, boy, oh boy, would they benefit from a guy like Sam Hauser being on their roster. A big, you've got Deron Davis, you've got potentially Joey Brunk, you've got potentially Sam Hauser, and you've got Trace Jackson Davis. Right? That foursome, you feel pretty good about. Brunk isn't a done deal yet. Hauser, we just found out this afternoon he's transferring. Trace Jackson Davis and Deron Davis, those guys, they're nice components. Deron Davis entering his senior season. Trace Jackson Davis, obviously a freshman to be out of Center Grove High School going to Indiana. But you look at Sam Hauser and all of a sudden you think, hey, if I'm Archie Miller, I'm thinking, how do I get this kid? Maybe they've already got a line on the kid. We don't know how this stuff works. But Sam Hauser would look really good in candy stripes, wouldn't he? Joey Hauser too, but Joey isn't going to be eligible for a year. And then he would be back with who knows if they're even going to go to the same place, right? I would assume they're going to go to the same place. They both came to the same school. They're both going to transfer from the same school. You would think that they want to land in the same spot, but things got a little bit interesting when we saw this afternoon that Sam and Joey Hauser are going to transfer from Marquette. The NFL draft just 10 days away, and that means that we are 10 days from finding out exactly what the Indianapolis Colts are going to do with that 26th overall pick in the first round. We remember how this thing works. That Thursday night on the 25th, you've got the first round. Second night on the 26th, that Friday, you've got the second and third round. And then on Saturday, you've got the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. The Colts, they've got 9 picks in this draft, one of them at the front end of the second round, 34th overall. That pick comes to them by virtue of that trade where the Jets dealt number 6 and a bunch of other stuff, including this pick, to the Colts to move up 3 spots to go get Sam Darnold. So they've got 34. They've got their own pick in the second round, 59. Their own pick in the third, 89. Their own pick in the fourth at 129. And then a draft pick, a compensatory pick in the fourth at 135, 164, 199, and 240. So what do we know about the Colts? What do we know what they do? Chris Ballard's been down this road twice with the Colts, so we've got a pretty good idea of what Chris Ballard does. We do know this, that it's impossible for us to figure out who the hell they're going to take at number 26. Forget about it, and there are a few reasons for that. Number one, there are 25 teams drafting ahead of the Indianapolis Colts, and who knows what they're going to do. So if you don't know what they're going to do, how do you know what the Colts are going to do at 26? Secondly, we have no idea what the Colts draft board looks like in terms of positional depth, and positional depth is everything for the Indianapolis Colts and Chris Ballard as they decide what they're going to do and with whom, right? So if you've got the first group of wide receivers, let's say you've got 4 receivers graded in the top 50 of the draft, and they all go prior to 26, you are not going to see the Colts take who they see as the 5th best wide receiver in the draft at 26th, because they'll have had him graded as a third-round guy in all likelihood, right? So it's likely that they're going to go ahead and wait, be patient, despite the fact that maybe they see wide receivers in need. Same thing at cornerback. Now, the inverse is true also. If they've got 6 cornerbacks graded in the top 30 of the draft as first-rounders, and only 3 are taken, and at 26, they've got their choice of the next 3, you know what? They're probably going to take one of those guys at 26, especially if there's one. Now, if there are three, maybe you try to put that off to 34, but you see it gets a little bit complicated. Positional depth, everything for Chris Ballard as he puts together his draft plan. Multiple areas of need. That's what the Colts have. They need a pass rush. They need a cornerback. They need a safety, although I'd rather see them go get a free agent like they did last year with Mike Mitchell, although pull the trigger on that a little bit earlier. We'd like to see them get maybe another linebacker. We'd like to see him get a defensive tackle, right? Anthony Costanzo is not getting any younger, so drafting a tackle not out of the question with the 26 overall pick. We'll see what they do. They had a hell of a draft last year. If they follow that up with another really good draft, and there's no reason to think that they're not gonna, you know what? All of a sudden, the Indianapolis Colts in 2020 start to look like a Super Bowl favorite type team out of the AFC. In 2020 or in 2019, we'll see what they do. This could be a really, really interesting season as that young core gets a little bit more experienced, a little bit more mature, a little bit older, and not quite yet to the point where they're really, really dinged up. This is going to be a fascinating season for the Colts. What do we know about Ballard and about the Colts? That they're going to stick to their plan. Ballard, he believes in the process. They're not going to get greedy. He is a very, very patient dude, and I love patience in a general manager. I think the Colts, if the things fall right, the Colts are going to be in a position to take advantage of it, and they could execute another really, really good draft. We saved the Pacers to now because the Pacers were just absolutely terrible yesterday. They get beat 84-74. This was the first time this season, 82 regular season games, the lowest offensive output the Pacers had in any of them, and it happened 3 times, was 89 points. 15 points beneath that yesterday, and there were some reasons for it. The Pacers faced a Celtics team who in the second half, after the Celtics kind of got schooled by the Pacers and we're looking at a 7-point deficit, the Celtics got tough and they got physical, and the Pacers did not respond well to it. They were outscored by 1 million in the third quarter and by 17 over the course of the second half. Now what the Pacers have got to do to get back into this series and keep from falling behind 2-0, they got to figure out how to nut up, play good physical basketball against a team that really likes physicality. If they can do that, they split these two, and that's all you got to do. You come back to Indianapolis, you win both those games, and all of a sudden you're up 3-1, and you're looking to take this thing in 6 games, and that's what I still predict the Pacers are going to be able to do. I still think that the Pacers win this thing in 6. I think that the Celtics are a mess. And over the course of a 7-game series, a mess is going to be exposed. Yesterday, Corey Joseph led the team in scoring with 14 points. Bojan Bogdanovic with 12. They hit less than 25%, did the Pacers, from beyond the arc. Absolutely deplorable offensive performance by the Pacers. They got to get better. And I think that on Wednesday night, they'll do just that. And finally, the Cubs down to net. Boy, is this a nice road trip for the Cubs, right? Over the weekend, snow in the Chicagoland area, miserable weather. So the Cubs game yesterday against the California Angels, kind of bad weathered out, whatever it was, snowing, raining, it was cold, it was miserable. So they decided not to play baseball at Wrigley Field. Now they go to South Florida, and the weather isn't going to be a problem down in Miami as the Cubs take on the Marlins, and really, really well timed. Right? If you're in Chicago, you can't wait right now to get down to Florida. The Cubs, they get to do it on the nickels and dimes of the Ricketts family. So good for them, and hopefully the Cubs can continue to find a way to win more games than they lose. And with John Lester on the DL, they got some holes to plug. We'll see how they're able to do it. See if that offense can kind of get untracked a little bit. The pitching has been terrible. The offense has really not been too bad. We'll see what the Cubs do tonight in Miami. That's it for sports. Nothing but sports. A beautiful Monday. It's tax day. If you haven't paid your taxes yet, do it before midnight tonight, for the love of God, or you're going to be in big trouble. Don't get sideways with the IRS. The IRS, if you get audited, that's no good. You're not going to enjoy it. It's not quite the prostate exam that a lot of people think it is. We got audited once. My wife, God bless her, she absolutely confounded the IRS with the way she filed our taxes one day. And ever since, we've used a professional accountant. I cannot recommend strongly enough for you to do the same. Sports Nothing But Sports, brought to you by the great people at Today's Dentistry. Give them a call, 317-849-2933. Dr. Mike O'Neill, simply the best dentist there is. We'll talk to you tomorrow to Breakfast with Kent at 8 o'clock on Facebook Live, and then on Periscope immediately following that. You can also listen on SoundCloud, iTunes, thegruelingtruth.net, all over the place. Talk to you tomorrow morning.